Admit it. At least once in your life, you have fantasized about packing a bag in the middle of the night, driving to a new city where no one knows your name, and completely starting over. You don't actually want to abandon your life. You just want to abandon the character you've been playing. You are exhausted by the expectations of people who think they know who you are. You are trapped in a personality that you outgrew 5 years ago. What if I told you that you don't need to move to a new country to start over? You just need to learn the psychology of reinvention. In this full-length audiobook, I am going to teach you how to assassinate your past, go into ghost mode, and systematically build an entirely new identity. It is time to stop playing the character society handed you. Let's dive into the art of disappearing. The art of disappearing, how to ghost your old self and reinvent your reality. Introduction: the sunk cost fallacy of you. Welcome to the art of disappearing. In economics, there is a concept known as the sunk cost fallacy. It describes our tendency to continue investing money, time, or effort into a failing project simply because we have already invested so much into it. We think, I can't quit now, I've already spent 5 years on this degree, or I can't sell this crashing stock, I paid too much for it. We know the project is dead, but we refuse to walk away because walking away feels like admitting defeat. We let our past investments dictate our future losses. This concept does not just apply to money and business. It applies to your identity. Millions of people are living their lives trapped in the sunk cost fallacy of their own personality. You stay in a career that drains your soul because you spent your 20s building it. You maintain toxic friendships because you have so much history together. You act like a shy, reserved person because that is the label your family gave you when you were 7 years old, and you feel obligated to keep playing the part. You are staying fiercely loyal to a version of yourself that is already dead. But identity is not a life sentence. Your personality is not carved in stone, it is written in pencil. The person you are right now is simply a collection of habits, adapted trauma responses, and stories you have repeated to yourself so many times that you mistook them for absolute truth. If you do not like the story, you are allowed to close the book. You are allowed to walk out of the theater. You are allowed to completely and utterly reinvent yourself. This audiobook is a manual for identity death and rebirth. Over the course of our journey together, we are going to explore why your brain is terrified of change, how to utilize the power of the alter ego, why you must embrace the silence of the ghost phase, and how to actively construct an avatar of the person you actually want to be. You owe nothing to your past. The ultimate freedom is the blank slate. Let us begin. Chapter 1: The Prison of Consistency. To reinvent yourself, you must first understand why it is so incredibly difficult to change. The barrier is not a lack of willpower. The barrier is a psychological phenomenon known as the consistency bias. Humans are biologically wired to crave consistency. We want the world to make sense. We want the sun to rise in the east, we want gravity to pull downward, and we want the people in our lives to act exactly the way they have always acted. Predictability creates psychological safety. Because of this, society heavily rewards consistency. We praise people who are reliable and unchanging. But this craving for consistency creates a prison. When you decide to change your life, when you decide to stop drinking, start a business, lose 50 pounds, or set fierce boundaries, you disrupt the predictability of your social circle. You will notice something deeply unsettling when you try to reinvent yourself. The people closest to you will often subconsciously try to pull you back to your old self. Your friends will say, "Come on, just have one drink, don't be boring." Your family will say, "Why are you working so hard on this business? Just be happy with the job you have." They are not doing this because they are evil, and they are not doing it because they want you to fail. They are doing it because your sudden change forces them to confront their own stagnation. If you, the person who was always lazy and broke, suddenly becomes disciplined and successful, it destroys their excuses. Your evolution is a threat to their comfort zone. They want you to stay in the box they built for you because it makes the world feel safe and predictable. To master the art of disappearing, you must be willing to let people misunderstand you. You must be willing to break the contract you signed with your old life. You have to look your fear of judgment in the eye and realize that people's opinions of you are completely none of your business. You cannot evolve if you are constantly checking to see if everyone approves of your new skin. The snake does not ask for permission to shed, it simply outgrows its scales and leaves the dead skin on the forest floor. You must do the same. Chapter 2: The Ghost Phase, Monk Mode. In the modern world, we are addicted to announcing our intentions. We decide to start a new diet, and before we have even eaten a single healthy meal, we post a long, dramatic status update about it on social media. We buy a domain name for a business and immediately tell everyone at the bar that we are going to be a millionaire. Psychologically, this is a disaster. When you announce your goals to the world, your brain releases a premature spike of dopamine. You receive the social validation and congratulations for achieving the goal before you have done a single ounce of the actual work. Your brain feels the reward, your motivation plummets, and 6 weeks later, you have quietly abandoned the project. If you want to truly reinvent yourself, you must enter what high performers call the ghost phase, or monk mode. The ghost phase is a period of intentional, strategic silence. You stop announcing your moves. You pull back from the noise of social media. You stop explaining yourself to people who do not understand your vision. You disappear from the radar of your old life. There is massive power in moving in silence. When no one knows what you are doing, no one can project their doubts, their fears, or their limiting beliefs onto your project. You protect your new identity while it is in its most fragile, infant stage. Think of a caterpillar entering a chrysalis. The transformation into a butterfly is a violent, messy, highly vulnerable biological process. The caterpillar does not do this out in the open where predators can see it. It wraps itself in a dark, impenetrable shell. It dissolves completely into liquid. It goes offline. And when it finally emerges, it is entirely unrecognizable. You must wrap yourself in a chrysalis. Use your time in the ghost phase to read aggressively, train your body, build your skills, and heal your trauma in private. Let the mystery of your silence do the talking. You do not need to post a photo of your new gym routine. You do not need to argue with your old friends about your new boundaries. Just do the work in the dark. By the time the world realizes what you are doing, you will already be entirely untouchable. Chapter 3: The Alter Ego Effect. As you sit in the silence of the ghost phase, you will inevitably come face to face with your deepest insecurities. You will look at the massive goals you have set, and the voice of your old self will whisper, "You can't do this. You are too shy. You are too anxious. You don't know what you are doing." How do you take action when your current identity is terrified? You borrow a new one. This is the psychological framework known as the alter ego. Some of the most elite performers in human history used alter egos to achieve the impossible. When Kobe Bryant stepped onto the basketball court, he did not play as Kobe, a man who had doubts, personal problems, and fears. He created an alter ego named the Black Mamba. The Black Mamba felt no fear. The Black Mamba was a cold, calculated, unstoppable assassin. Kobe stepped into that identity to perform at a superhuman level. When Beyoncé Knowles was first starting out, she was incredibly nervous and deeply religious. She struggled to feel comfortable performing aggressively on stage. So, she created an alter ego named Sasha Fierce. Sasha Fierce was fearless, dominant, and wildly confident. Beyoncé used Sasha as a psychological shield to do the things her normal self was too scared to do. An alter ego is not a lie. It is not fake. It is simply a psychological tool called self-distancing. When you create a separate persona, you detach your fragile ego from the task at hand. If you are terrified of public speaking, you don't speak as yourself. You create an alter ego, let's call him the professor, who is incredibly articulate, commands the room, and feels no anxiety. When you walk onto the stage, you put on the invisible suit of the professor. To build your alter ego, grab a piece of paper. Give this new identity a name. What do they wear? How do they walk? How do they handle failure? How do they speak to people? When the anxiety hits, you simply ask yourself, what would my alter ego do in this exact situation? And then, you let them take the wheel. Over time, a beautiful thing happens. The gap between your true self and your alter ego begins to close. You realize that the power, the confidence, and the bravery were inside you all along. You just needed a mask to give yourself permission to use them. Chapter 4: Assassinating the Victim. We now arrive at the most difficult, uncomfortable, and highly triggering chapter of reinvention. If you want to build a new life, you must let go of the story of your past. And specifically, you must assassinate the victim narrative. Every single person listening to this audiobook has been wronged. You have been betrayed. You have been hurt by people who were supposed to protect you. You have faced unfair economic disadvantages, heartbreaks, and tragedies. Those things are real. Your pain is valid. It was not your fault. But here is the brutal, undeniable truth of psychology. You cannot be the hero of your story and the victim of your story at the exact same time. The victim narrative is highly addictive. When we play the victim, we receive sympathy from others. We are absolved of responsibility. If our life is a mess because our parents were toxic, or because the economy is rigged, or because our ex ruined our trust, then we don't have to do the terrifying work of fixing it. We get to sit on the couch and point our finger at the world, completely justified in our stagnation. But the cost of playing the victim is absolute powerlessness. If your current situation is 100% someone else's fault, then you have 0% of the power to change it. You have handed the pen of your life story over to the person who hurt you, and you are letting them write your future. To disappear from your old life, you must violently rip the pen out of their hands. You must adopt a philosophy of extreme ownership. Extreme ownership means looking at your life and saying, "It may not be my fault that I was knocked down, but it is 100% my responsibility to get back up." You must stop telling the story of what happened to you. When you constantly repeat the story of your trauma to everyone you meet, you are keeping the neural pathways of that trauma alive in your brain. You are keeping the ghost of your past in the room with you. Forgive the people who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to move on. Drop the heavy baggage of resentment. Assassinate the victim. You survived the fire. Now it is time to build the castle. Chapter 5: The Architecture of the New Avatar. You have entered the ghost phase. You have dropped the victim narrative. The canvas is completely blank. Now, we must consciously design the new avatar. Reinvention does not happen by sitting in a room and thinking very hard about changing. Reinvention happens through the physical manipulation of your environment and your micro-habits. You cannot heal in the exact same environment where you got sick. If you want to become a new person, you must change the physical cues around you. Start with your digital environment. The algorithm on your phone currently thinks it knows exactly who you are. It feeds you content based on your old anxieties, your old political arguments, and your old distractions. Purge it. Unfollow every single account that makes you feel inferior, angry, or distracted. Curate your feed so aggressively that every time you open your phone, you are hit with a wave of education, inspiration, and high-level thinking. Change the algorithm, change your mind. Next, change your physical environment. You don't have to move to a new city, but you must disrupt your daily visual cues. Rearrange the furniture in your bedroom. Buy a new cologne or perfume. Scent is the strongest trigger of memory in the brain, and a new scent signals to your subconscious that a new era has begun. Throw away the clothes that you wore during the darkest, most depressed periods of your life. They carry the energy of the old you. Burn them. Finally, build the new identity through the accumulation of undeniable proof. Identity is simply a belief in yourself. And beliefs are built on evidence. If you want to be a disciplined person, you must give your brain evidence of discipline. Do not set a goal to revolutionize your entire life. Set a goal to execute 3 tiny, non-negotiable promises every single day. Make your bed. Read 10 pages of a book. Drink a glass of water before looking at a screen. When you keep these promises to yourself day after day, The brain begins to update its software. It says, "Wait a minute. We are doing what we said we were going to do. We must be a disciplined person." The identity shifts. The avatar levels up. Conclusion: the freedom of the blank slate. The process of disappearing is not an act of cowardice. It is an act of profound, radical courage. It takes zero courage to stay exactly where you are, playing a character you hate, simply because it is what people expect of you. It takes immense bravery to look at the life you have built, realize it no longer fits, and have the audacity to tear it down to the studs and start over. There is a grief that comes with reinvention. You will mourn the loss of the person you used to be. You will lose friends who only loved the version of you that was broken, compliant, and easy to control. You will face moments in the dark chrysalis where you feel entirely alone, wondering if you made a mistake. But then, you will wake up one morning. You will look in the mirror, and you will see a stranger looking back at you. The eyes will be sharper. The posture will be straighter. The heavy, anxious weight of the past will be completely gone. You will realize that you have done the impossible. You have successfully assassinated the old you, and you have birthed a masterpiece in their place. You are not a tree. You are not rooted to one spot, one personality, or one destiny. If you do not like your life, change it. If you do not like your character, rewrite the script. The sunk cost fallacy is a lie. The past does not exist anywhere except in your memory. Today is day one. The canvas is blank. The pen is in your hand. Thank you for listening to The Art of Disappearing. Go into the dark, do the work, and return completely unrecognizable. Bell subscribe for more full-length audiobooks and powerful mental models for self-growth. Speechaloon comment below, if you created an alter ego today, what would their name be?